Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Rebekah Jacobson. We are both from the Karen organization of Minnesota. We're a nonprofit located in Roseville. We've been around for about 8 years. We're a social service agency that serves the Karen population in Minnesota as well as other refugees from Burma.
My name is Moses Mo. I'm Korean. I'm program manager at Korean Organization of Minnesota. I'm new to the organization about 4 weeks ago.
Sorry,
I wanted to thank the city council for inviting us to come and share the Korean culture to, let's start talking about the history, the early history of the Korean people. Originally, Korean people migrated from Mongolia, and then they entered to the Tisemaya. Tisemaya means the land of flowing sand, and then they moved down all the way to Burma, and then they went up to Tibet, Yunnan, and then they entered into Burma around 733 BC. And then during the World War II and before during the World War II, when we get into Burma, we settle down there, and then we have our own place. We call that place Kothule, which means that Kola, and Kola means Greenland, and then we also call another name called Kothule, meaning a land without evil. We live peacefully there, for many years, and mostly Karen people live in a delta area around this area, and they live in Sun State, southern Sun State around here, and the Karen state. But this is the Karen state. This is the region where mostly Karen people live. This is Karen state. Who live in Burma? There are many ethnic groups in Burma. There are a total of eight main ethnic groups in Burma. And there we have like 130 distinct subgroups. There, the population is around like 55 million, according to the data in 2013. Yeah, we have the 8 ethnic groups in Burma. We have Kachin, Kaya, Karen, we have Chin, we have Hmong, we have Burman, which means Burmese people. We have Rakhine, we have Shan.
Yeah, and I think it's also good to note that the Kaya people are also known as Karenni. So that's most commonly used here. And so in Minnesota, most of the population from Burma is Karen, but there's also a small population of Karenni and Hmong people here as well.
Yeah, talking about life under the World War II. During the World War II, the Burmese military and the Japanese, there was a time where the colony between the Japanese colony and then the British colony. So Japanese fought aside with the Burmese, and then the British government recruited the Korean people to fight for their side. So because of pressure, because of killing, because of raping, from the military, from the soldier, like that. So we Korean people fight together with the British people, and then the British colony is from 1888 to 1948, and then after British and Korean, we win the war, and then the British left, and then they gave independence to Burma. In 1948, January 1948. But after the Burmese government left, the Burmese soldier, they wanted to take control over the Burma, the whole country. That's why each group in the in Burma, we started having our own revolutionary group to fight against the Burmese government. So for Korean people, after the British left, after World War II, we even before in the end of the World War II, we Korean people start founding our organization. We call revolution. So we started our revolution in January 1949, and since then, we start having civil war, with the Burmese military, Burmese soldiers, and then later on, in 1942, the military government took power over the Burma. And talking a little bit about current state, we have our own state. We have this is Soba Uji is the first current president. Before he died, he has 4 principles for Korean people to remember. So we have first the surrender. It's out of the question that the recognition of the current state must be completed. We shall remain our arm. We shall decide our own political destiny. Also, we have Korean flag. We have the color. The red means bright bravery. White means purity. Blue means royalty. And then we have night rays, sun rays, which means there's a, we decide that later we want to have like a night stay or something. In that.
Yeah, and the little, you guys are probably wondering what that little piece is on the flag. That's a Karen drum. It's a traditional instrument in Karen culture. So the Karen drum and the Karen horn are 2 traditional instruments played at many ceremonies.
Yeah, we used to have like a 7 state. We have a Tagu, Klolitu, Manipulad, the 2 Duplaya, and Magwitawai. So we have 7 states back there, And after revolution start, we started founding, organization. Many organizations we founded like a KNU Korean National Union in 1949. We fought Korean National Liberation Army in 1949. We found KNDO in 1949 as well. So we start, increasing, more and more organization by the, each time as the year passed by. After being under the pressure of the military government for many years, they decided that the Burmese government, the military government, decided to destroy all the ethnic groups, including Korean people. So they have they call it the 4 cuts, meaning they cut all the heads of the revolutionary leaders, cut out the lines of the support, cut out the line of financial support, cuts out the line of the other thing, like food supply, those like that, they want to control, they want to cut all of those things. And then in 1988, we had a student uprising in Yangon. Year by year, we the area in the jungle area, where the Korean people live, the Burmese soldier consider this area as a war zone. So there's like a war going on everywhere, in the jungle area. Mm-hmm. Why Korean people are fleeing to Thailand? As I mentioned in the previous slide, because of tension, because of forced border, forced labor, beating, rape, human shields, forced location, burning of the village, and then child abuse, recruitment of a child soldier, something like that, Mm-hmm. So, along the way, before getting to the refugee camp, many people die while traveling to the Thai refugee camp, because of sickness, because of diarrhea, because any other, factor, And And there, you know, the first refugee entered into Thai border was in 1984. That was the first time, you know, Korean refugee get into Thailand. Like a refugee camp, you know, we have like 9 refugee camps in Thailand. In Thailand, we have Bawin, Meseria, Usu, you know, Melalua, Mela, Upiam, Nopo, you know, Badoyang, and then we have Tampin here. So we have altogether 9 refugee camps along the Thai borderline.
So the other sites there are Shan and Mon resettlement sites. So the Karen camps are in red dots.
So this is how life in refugee camp, you know. Each camp is different, you know. Some camp, you know, they are allowed to use the lift for the roof, but some camps, you know, we are not allowed to have the roof with the lift. We have to use the plastic for the roof. So it is very hard, you know, under the plastic roof during the summer. So while living in the refugee camp, you know, we were not allowed to leave out of the camp. You know, if we go out of the camp, you know, we get catched by the police, Thai police, and then we get deported to Burma again. You know, we don't have work, so we depend on the UNHCR to provide food, and the space is very limited. You know, each house is very crowded. And also, you know, while we were in the refugee camp, there are a few, you know, Korean people who were living outside the camp. You know, they have a family, they have a relative outside of the camp, so they live with the relative outside of the camp. So they have more freedom. You know, they can walk, but you know, sometimes, you know, they can get caught too by the police, Thai police. You know, if they can get caught, they face the deportation also.
And also there are internally displaced people inside of Burma. And so those people, you know, their homes have been destroyed and they've run away and they're living in the jungles in Burma as well. So there's several different places where Karen live, but all of them have different like benefits, but also risks depending on where they live.
So, resettlement. The UNHCR, you know, started resettling the Korean people to the third country. You know, when we come to the United States, we come to the United States, or we go to Australia or other country, we call it the third countries. Because the first country we mean Burma, and the second country we mean Thailand, and then the third country we mean Australia, United States. And then, you know, the resettlement started in 2000 by like just a few family coming to the United States, but you know, a large amount of Korean refugees started coming to the United States in 2005. You know, there was a large amount of people coming at that time after 2005. So about 100,000, you know, Korean people have resettled to the third country. In the United States, you know, we have lived in 41 states, about 4,600 Korean people live in 41 states in the United States, mainly in the Minnesota, Texas, Utica, New York, and then Indiana, and other places, other states. In Minnesota, roughly, and now we have about, you know, 12,000, you know, Korean living in Minnesota in 5 cities, including St. Paul, Roseville, Maplewood, Washington, you know, Marshall, you know, those cities.
Yeah, lots of Korean live in southern Minnesota for job opportunities like there, in like meat packing or manufacturing companies. So.
Yeah, other Korean refugees go to Australia, Canada, you know, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, New Zealand. Well, let's go to cultural behavior. Daily life, you know, before we were live in Burma, you know. We don't have running water, we don't have electricity, we don't have phone, we don't have car, we travel. If we want to communicate, we just walk to other people's house and tell them. And some, you know, we use a wagon, we use a cow to pull the wagon, you know, to travel to, you know, village to village. for our daily food, our daily needs, economy, we plant rice, we hunt, we had animals, we hunt, we fish, for food. And then we plant vegetable. And then for socialization, everyone is welcome to participate in any activity. You don't need to. You can jump in and then play. We have the famous sports are like soccer, football, cane ball. And then we visit each other too. When we visit, we don't need to make an appointment. We don't need to call ahead. We just show up and then say hi. Knock the door. Yeah, and another thing, we weave the clothes, our clothes like that. We weave and then we sell. We make money with that way as well.
So these photos were all taken actually here in Minnesota. KOM, we support a local weaving group of Karen and Karenni women that come together every week to weave on the east side of St. Paul. So they actually sell at local art fairs here in St. Paul if you're ever interested in going to one. So it's awesome that they're preserving the culture here and continuing the weaving. So.
Yeah, religion, we have enemies. We have Buddhist, we have Christian. 60 to 70% Christian. Buddhism was introduced in 1970s or 70s, and that Christian was introduced in 1842 by the Western Christian Baptist. In that time, enemies, as more people mentioned before, we believe in spirit, bad spirit, good spirit, the spirit coming to our body and our mind that, make us sick or something like that, So they believe that, you need to give the offer something, to get, to get better or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting, the religious distribution actually in the U.S. here in Minnesota, I would say lots of the Karen people here are mostly Christian. So these statistics are kind of like overall, like in the world. In Minnesota, probably like 70 to 80% of Karen are Christian here. And kind of the story of Christianity there's like a story in Karen culture called the Litulise, so the Golden Book. So there's like a story that there was like three brothers, and the youngest brother, there was like a Karen brother, Thai brother, or the white brother, and the youngest brother was the white brother, and he took the Golden Book away and ran away. And so when a Baptist missionary came in 1852, a white Baptist missionary, he brought the Bible, and they said, "Oh, this is the Golden Book he's bringing back to us." So that's the reason why many Karen people believed in Christianity. So.
Yeah, we Karen people, we have two main subgroups. We have Scott Karen and Poor Karen. Mostly people speak Scott Karen, Some Poor Karen, they speak both Karen, Scott Karen and Poor Karen. But, like Scott Karen, some they don't speak Poor Karen, Yeah, we have, for the Scott Karen, we have only one language, one written language, But our tone is a little bit, depending on each location, our tone is different. Some locations, they have a very high tone. Some locations, they have a very flat tone, like that. So. But for Karen, they have four, sub-dialects. So they have a poor, west poor, east poor, north poor, something like that. And the score alphabet was created by the missionary.
Yeah, so the script, so most people in Minnesota speak Scott Karen, about 80 to 90%. Yeah, so the script is based off of the Burmese script, so it looks very similar. And like he said, it was developed by the Baptist missionaries that came because before they had like a older script that's not really used anymore. So this is like the modern Karen script. So like on the top are all the consonants, and then below are like the different like vowels and like tonal marks. So.
Yeah, just those vowels are just to make the sound. For example, this is a. So if you put something l, with this, it sounds like le.
Lai.
Is easy to learn. Yeah, we have a traditional clothing. For men, we have a cloth like that, and then we wear a longi. And then for women, unmarried women, they wear a long dress and then white or any color, not black. Married women usually traditionally wear a black, shirt. Yeah. But for men, we can wear whatever color we want to wear.
Yeah.
Red.
Nowadays, not everyone kind of sticks to this like.
But now it has been
traditional-
changing though. Married women can wear whatever color they want to wear. Single women they wear black all the time. If they like it, so they wear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's more examples of Karen traditional clothing. And like I said, this is all obviously handmade. It can take days, weeks, months to make. It's a very delicate process.
Yeah, those are like, yeah.
So yeah, walking around St. Paul, you might see a lot of people like wearing the traditional clothes. Usually like on a day-to-day basis, people will just wear casual clothes, but for church, for special celebrations, for going to the temple, people will wear their traditional Karen clothing, definitely.
Yeah, we have a musical instrument too. We have a choir, a buffalo horn. Then we use it for a ceremony. We use like during the Happy New Year, Korean New Year. We have a kida, we have a drum, frog drum. Then we use it, for the ceremony. We have a flute, And then we have a traditional dance too. We have a dome dance, with a stick. We have a bamboo dance, we tap the bamboo and then people jam it to the spot. And then we have like a bamboo stick dance too.
Yeah, and actually, there's another organization, a nonprofit in Minnesota called Karen Culture Organization of Minnesota. So they're a nonprofit focused on preserving Karen culture and arts. And they actually have a dance group of Don dancers, and they perform at Festival of Nations. They actually just performed at like a Ojibwe powwow. They perform at Don dance competitions throughout the U.S. And so, yeah, it's awesome if you go see them perform. And then we have a group of bamboo dancers from the youth program at KOM. We taught some of our youth the bamboo dance. So you can definitely see it in the U.S. here if you want to at many festivals.
Yeah, move up to a cultural behavior. We respect our head. We think that it is a very esteemed, very high place. So we don't want to be touched. Especially the older. If people is older than you, don't touch their head. But if someone is younger than you can touch. But for medical purpose, that's acceptable. We respect leader. We respect our teacher. And then, traditionally, women are inferior to the men. However, it has been changing. Right now, it's equal, we have the same right, the same. And then, usually, like many decades ago, we used to have like 3 to 7 children, in each family because, by that time, we don't have like a birth control or anything, so we keep having a baby. Usually, we talk together, and by that, when that we make decision together, we usually, husband make decision. We don't communicate with the action, but with the hand, okay. But we don't point thing with our leg. We just use hand or something. Marriage is considered the villagers, to see if the marriage is appropriate or not, and then no sex before marriage, no showing affection in the public area.
Traditionally, being in the U.S. now, that is changing among many youth.
Yeah, in our culture, we have a word yoba, me, we for example, we have something that we don't want to have people feeling. For example, if some people ask me to do something and then I'm busy with something, I don't want to have the people who ask me feeling. So we set aside what we're doing right now, and then we help right away, because we feel that we want, we want to have that, we do want to have their feeling. So we feel your body, so. Mm-hmm. And then we don't pass things over other people, But for example, if a person is lying down and then we want to give food or something, we just, go around and then give it, we don't pass things, we don't step over people's body, We don't want to, walking in front of people. But if we need to, we need to lower our head, and then we need to use our hand to extend to say, excuse me, to give respect to other people, we give things with right hand, we hold our right elbow to give things like that, when like that, we don't wear shoes in the house. So we agree with Southwest smile between gender, we are very hospitable. So we invite guests to eat with us, Traditionally back years ago, if the guests don't eat with us, we are sad. So at least try our food, when we invite you to eat,
Yeah.
Even though the food is not that good, we expect that you try, otherwise
it's just really spicy and lots of fish. They eat lots of fish paste with rice. So you just have to try it and then drink lots of water. And a common greeting, people will say, "Amewiliya," which means "Have you eaten yet?" And you say like, "Ta'ameba," like, "No, I haven't," or something like that.
Speaking between gender is acceptable. We like to be addressed by our name. For example, if people as a grandma, we call grandma, Susie or something like that. Mm-hmm. Ice cold is not very appropriate, with people older than you. For example, if we talk to our teacher, we tend to not to look straight into their eyes. We just stay calm like that. But among peers, okay. About family name, we never have a last name. So in each family, if we have like 7 family, we have different last name. Because when we came to the United States, we don't have a last name, so they pick the last part of our name and make it to the last name. That's why we have a different last name.
Yeah, so it's very difficult being here in the U.S., like filling out documents and everything. So yeah, just call someone by their full name usually, if it's a Karen name.
Yeah, when we get married, women, they don't change their last name. They still keep their own last name. And like that, as I said, we address people by adding, kinship term like grandfather, aunts, like sister, Elizabeth, like that. We don't say like Elizabeth, we have to say something.
Yeah. Like I could call him Jaw, like older brother, or I call him Pati, like uncle, or I could call him Thara because he's like a supervisor of me. So Thara means teacher. So lots of Karen people will call someone who they respect, like a pastor, a leader, teacher, Thara for male and Theramu for female.
Yeah, we have, in the village, we have the villager, we have secretary. Villager secretary are usually elected by vote by the villager. And then, the social, political, economic matters are made, decided by the village leader. And group decision is important. We make decision by group in terms of crisis and emergency. Yeah, we have many. We have a lot of celebration day. We have a Korean New Year is on the first day of Luna. So in me, we have to depend on the Luna. So sometimes the New Year can be in December. Sometimes can be in January. So each year is different. Mm-hmm. So you are welcome to come to the Korean New Year. Yeah,
that's going to be the next celebration. We just had Larko Kishu and Korean Martyrs Day like earlier this month. So the next big celebration is Korean New Year. So it'll be the end of December or early January, depending on the calendar. The date hasn't been decided yet, but you can follow our organization if you would like to come to that.
Yeah, we have Korean Liberation Day, you know, but we it's in January, and then we have a National Day, February, Martin Day. We just had it like a week ago, the Methodist,
Yeah.
you know. We have a wrist tying, you know. Wrist tie ceremony is like we do in August too, when, you know, in Buddhist belief, you know, because we used to be Buddhist, some of them. So we believe that, you know, we tie the thread into people's wrists. And they pray, the older leader, they pray, and then they ask our spirit to come back to our mind and our soul, you know. So, yeah. They're careful, you know. Eating together is always, you know, always. We always eat together. But, you know, here in the United States, it's difficult to have all people together at the same time, you know. Curry, you know, curry is made with different spices different from different locations. For example, people who live in Burma, we tend to add like spices from Indian, from China. You know, if people live in Thai border, they try to add spices from Thai, you know, Thai style food. So we eat with hand. We don't use spoon. We add hand. Education, you know, education back in Creston, in the village, you know, we have elementary, we have a few high school, but, you know, we usually have school in the remote area. It means that, you know, we have a school in the area for a few months, and then we move to another location like that, you know. And then education refugee camp, you know, we have high school, we have a post-high school program. So the education system in the refugee camp is supported by ZOA. In the U.S., you know, we have the students are in the EL programs, and then, you know, the parent, you know, support the student, but, you know, they don't know how to help them with the homework, you know. So now, you know, we have college graduates, we have high school graduates, so we still need help with the language, you know, with homework helps like that. We commonly in any event, you know, any ceremony, you know, we used to have alcohol, you know, made by our own, and then we have a betel nut. Most of the people eat betel nut in the community. So when you go and visit Korean people, they will put the betel nut in the tray, and then they will ask you to try.
So betel nut has a tobacco content in it. It's very commonly eaten at the end of meals or at celebrations.
Yeah, you know, issue barrier in the United States, you know, we have a problem with the language barriers. You know, we don't know to speak very well, so it has to find a job. And then we also have problem with the housing, you know, like, you know, understanding the policy, you know, for complying with the rules in the apartment, you know, those things. So we usually have a problem, you know, with the apartment manager. Some once in a while, you know, we have problem with the transportation. Also, you know, we have problem with the teenagers with drug. You know, they try to use drug. You know, few of teenagers. So we have challenges with that right now. We have trouble with the people getting ticket, you know, either from the traffic or from the fishing or for hunting. You know, so we need to create something. You know, education, not you know, to teach them.
Lots of people will call Karen people Burmese, but that can be very offensive. Call Karen people Karen, Kareni people Kareni, Mon people Mon, like stick to their specific ethnic group, because that's something they take pride in. And also since the Burmese people are the ones persecuting them, that there's a lot of...
They want to be called Burmese,
yeah. So that's like the end of our presentation. I think we have a few minutes for some questions. If you guys would like more information about our organization, we're located in Roseville. We have a website. You can sign up for our monthly e-newsletter if you would like to. We also have a Facebook page that's pretty active if you guys would like to stay connected. So,
could we just give a big round of applause for these two?
Thank you so much. And then if you do have time for questions, feel free to leave if you need to leave. There's no offense to that. But if you have a question, let me know and I'll bring the microphone to you.
Does immigration continue today, and what organizations are assisting, like Lutheran Social Services, or are there organizations like that assisting?
Yeah, it continues today. Like resettlement was really big, he said, in the mid-2000s. It's leveled off a little bit, but it's still definitely, there's many families still coming. And so, yeah, the organizations in Minnesota that resettle refugees, so there's 5 different resettlement agencies. So Lutheran Social Services, Arrive Ministries, International Institute of Minnesota, Catholic Charities, and Minnesota Council of Churches. So they're all located in the Twin Cities area. And then when a Karen family comes, a case manager will work with the family for the first 90 days, setting them up with like their SSI, public assistance, housing, jobs, school placement, all those like basic survival things. And then after 90 days, the case manager stops working with them, which is very soon, actually. And so actually KOM, we actually step in a lot after that because we provide continuous services to anyone. So we have lots of families who will come to KOM, and we have social service coordinators, employment counselors, community health educators who will continue working with families with fulfilling these needs. So. Mm-hmm.
Hi, I work for the water department, and what we had heard was that the Karen population didn't understand that they could drink tap water. Do you know if that's been corrected? They were buying bottled water, which is very expensive.
Yes, because but some people they prefer to buy the bottled water, so they try. But we have been teaching them.
Okay, great, thank you.
And then. Yeah.
Hi, question about interviewing. If we were going to interview someone for a job, could we expect eye contact or not expect eye contact?
Yes, because they need to adjust to the culture here too. They know it. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. So.
Just a comment I was going to make. What you just asked about making eye contact for the job interviews, I think that's a very culturally sensitive issue. When I first interviewed for the job for the city of St. Paul, I almost lost it because I wasn't looking at the person interviewing me, my boss. And after the interview, she asked me, "How come you're pointing your eyes down the whole time?" And I tried to explain that in my culture, when somebody's interviewing you, somebody's older than you, you're talking to them, you put your eyes down, it's a sign of respect.
Yeah.
And it's very disrespectful to look at them straight in the eyes. So I almost lost the job. I'm glad I get the opportunity. So something to keep in mind as you interview these folks that are culturally different from you. They may turn their eyes down, doesn't mean they're hiding something. It's because of cultural issues.
Yeah, they give respect to you. So.
Thank you all so much. Tabluto ma.